and gentlemen, welcome to the inaugural episode of Chuckle Sluts. You come for the sluts and you stay for the chuckles. And if you're here to slut shame, it's pretty useless because we have no shame. I'm Samuel Locke. Introduce yourselves, men.
Want me to go first? I'm Kyle Sawyer.
I'm Zach Copperich.
And this is a podcast where we talk about anything that makes us chuckle just a little bit and hopefully make you chuckle just a little bit. And we're going to go right into things with the lovely game of called Would You Rather. We're going to jump right into some of this. And we're going to start small and then end with, "Oh my god, why would you ask me these kinds of questions?" So, my first one's going to be a pretty easy one. Would you rather lose an arm or a leg? And to put that into context, it has to be the dominant of your arm or your leg.
Oh, I would say leg for sure. Like, hands down. I'm totally fine with that. Because then I have more of an excuse to be lazy and, like, just sit around or whatever. Like, I can just gloat. And I didn't have a wheelchair to be accessible for things like that. To, like, go to games or whatever. And, like, yeah, hands down, wheelchair. Or that's legs.
Insane. That's because, like, when you lose a leg and you're instantly, like, pitied. You use an arm, or lose an arm, and you can be, like, the talk of the town as a hilarious human being. Like, if you lose your right arm and you get, like, a hook or something, or, like, even the whole arm's gone, you just get, like, a weird peg that floats around, you can relearn left-hand stuff and still go around and do shit and be, like, and be an active member of society. But, like, you lose a leg and you're instantly, like, I don't know, you become, like, a non-walking weeble wobble, and you always fall. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Like, and I just get the pity aspect. Like, without an arm, I can be like, go fuck yourself. I still got one of these. But
yeah, right.
Without a leg, people are like, oh my god, do you need help getting up the ramp? Like well, yeah.
But I guess that's kind of an annoying thing too, because you don't want people to be giving that pity party to you all the damn time. You know, it's like, look, I have a wheelchair, I can handle this. I got both my arms now, so fuck off. You know, like, just leave me alone.
But then that goes into the question, like, how much sex is that guy pulling through pity, though? Like, I mean, kind of offsets a little bit.
That's the thing too. Like, you definitely become less of like a physical human, just in any aspect of the way. Like, sex is harder, doing things are harder, like traveling is harder, doing anything's harder. It just adds like a tremendous amount more burden.
Mm-hmm.
But it does give you a greater amount of like, fuck it. It does. Your fuck it must go up like 7,000% when you lose a leg.
Yeah,
I see.
Definitely.
So I'm gonna go.
But last thing I want to say about this. So I guess if we lived in a world where bionic arms were actually working, you know, then I don't know, man. I would love to have a robot arm or something like that. You know, that'd be pretty rad.
I totally agree. Like, this is something I've posed for years. If I could get like a hand, like a doctor, or like an Inspector Gadget hand, I would let either of you chop my hand off today. Like, you could drive to my house and cut my fucking hand off. If it could still, like, do shit, and I could be like, go, laser, lighter, scissors, like, fuck hands. I want tools.
Yeah.
That'd be so sick. And I don't think I'm kidding. Like, I would let you come take a meat cleaver to my hand, as long as I knew that I could afford it, and it wouldn't become, like, a burden financially. Because I can deal with the health issues, but just financially, if I could deal with it, fuck yeah. Chop, tear it off, cut off with a spoon.
Here's what I would do. I would actually cut off both legs. Like, if they were like, no, I'll tell you why. Follow me here. I have a reason. So, the way I see it, if you have both your legs cut off, okay, your legs are gone. However, the prosthetics are dope. It's like, oh, I'm 5'10", now I'm 8 feet tall, motherfucker. You know, like these, like the Bastoris legs that like bend like this.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
Like, all of a sudden,
like the aliens from Contact.
Exactly.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah,
I look like a mechanical fawn, basically, just fucking jumping 20 feet in the air.
Yeah, that's a fair point too, for sure.
Now.
That's true, but that's also like under the assumption that adds like a different. That's the same thing as me chopping my hand off. Like, because if we're talking about right now, if you lose both legs right now, there are decent prosthetics, but like you're still a wobbly motherfucker. Like it's hard. It is a hard life you have to lead, and there are people that really suffer because we haven't reached that point yet. But once we reach that point,
yes, but I am an 8 foot tall suffering guy, and no one's gonna make fun of the guy who's 8 feet tall and wobbling around. That's a dangerous motherfucker.
You can take a child into space.
Yeet.
You really could.
Yeah. Like the leverage on that, it's just dirty.
Oh no, and think of it this way: if your springiness, like if you have the little curve thing, if it's like a good sproing, you could literally jump like 20, 30 feet in the air. I'm surprised double amputees haven't like asked for this thing yet.
Well, so that is so in theory that's great, but keep in mind you have to be very talented because your spring would have to go straight down and straight up. If you get like a little forward bend, you're coming down face first. Like,
oh yeah,
like it's
physics.
Yeah, there's science involved in jumping 20 feet in the air.
Can I roll for a dexterity check on that?
Yes.
Well, too many ones to survive that life.
Acrobatics.
Let's talk about fall damage, shall we?
Okay. That leads me to something though. I talked about kicking kids.
Of course.
That's a great lead-in. Yeah.
That's my segue right here. This isn't necessarily a would you rather, but this is a real like a thought experiment. And this is gonna probably offend someone, I'm sure.
Dope.
But this is a real question. This came up at a drunken night when I used to run a bar in Knoxville. And there's an old man, and he poses this question to me, and it's plagued me forever. So, like, if you were armed with, say, a baseball bat, how many, like, 10-year-olds would it take to bring you down? And I mean, we're talking like it could be infinite. Like, how could you kill every 10-year-old in the world, or could they eventually overwhelm you? Like, and what if they're 12, or what if they're 5? Like, and he kept asking these questions, and my brain fucking exploded because my first thought is like, I could take them all, like every 10-year-old. I think.
Well, I think I have an answer to this because I've heard this question before. And if we're gonna use the 10-year-old as the assumptive age,
yeah,
I figure if they're all rushing me at the same time, I don't really have a chance. However, if I'm bottlenecking them somehow, like it's a hallway, I might have at least a little bit of a chance to knock a few of the assholes out. Now,
Monopoly rules, yeah,
exactly. So let's take the assumption that I could probably rock a bat for about 12 hours before I need to sleep, and then on top of that. Like, if they're rushing at me, I could probably take maybe 2 at a time. So, and this isn't considering that I have, it's not like a one-hit kill like a zombie would, it might take a couple thwacks to bring him down. So let's take the assumption I could take down maybe 2 or 3 a minute times 60 times 12. So 120 times 12. I could probably take out about 1,400 10-year-olds before I go down.
I love that. I really love that you actually brought in like all this math into this. It's like it sounds like you've actually thought about this like a lot.
I have a contingency for everything.
I would have said like 20 kids a minute, but you said 2, and I think that's a great pace because you got to keep your arm strong.
Yeah. Like swinging a bat for an hour.
You gotta piece out your child murder.
Who said anything about murder? You said take them down. If we're murdering, it's going to take a lot longer.
I mean, you have a baseball bat. They're a child. They're still squishy. They're made of rubber.
Sure, they probably have like concussions or something. I'd have to like go full Walking Dead on it for it to really be a thing.
That's true. What do you do, Kyle? What's your?
Shoot, I'm not in that great of shape. So I mean, I actually am terrible at baseball. I can't hit like the ball worth a damn. So I'm probably gonna miss a lot and like just like maybe like hit their like arm or hit their chest or something like that. So yeah, like they would be kind of quick and stuff like that. So I'm saying I'd probably be able to get maybe 1 a minute, but I'd probably only last maybe like 4 hours. So with his own math, shoot, man, I think I'd be like maybe 100 or 2, something like that.
That'd be 240. You get 240 kids.
Yeah, about 240 kids. but until actually some like really cute kid comes up, or whatever, like just not looking all murderousy or whatever like that, I might just kind of like let my guard down, and then I'd be screwed. So.
And I guess it kind of like in this assumption, we're kind of assuming it's like evil zombie kids. So there's also a difference. Like, are they slow kids or are they like 28 days later kids that like rip your eyes out?
Yeah. So
it's hard to tell, but it is a question that's really plagued me, and this is a interesting format to ask that question. I really love that you have math to it.
Yeah,
like,
that's amazing.
That's my number.
It kind of reminds me of Silicon Valley season 1, where I don't know if you guys have seen it, but basically there's a scene where they're like essentially kind of on the ropes, and they're like, you know, in order for us to really make this technology happen, we need to give hand jobs to literally every single person.
Hand job scene.
And I just what the beauty of it is, you don't even realize it's a dick joke until like halfway through, and it's like a 10-minute joke, and you're like, oh my god, this is the best writing ever.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. It's truly brilliant.
All right, Kyle, what do you got?
The math in there was solid too. Like they were doing.
What do I got? Would you rather be a reverse centaur or a reverse mermaid? For a centaur, your top of your body is a horse, but you have your legs.
You got a little human dick and a huge horse head. That's terrible.
I have the answer. I'm gonna be reverse centaur. That's so easy. Why? Because I want to be BoJack fucking Horseman. Boom.
It is BoJack.
But if you're a reverse fish person, what type? Because like a horse is a horse, but with a fish, like could I be like a narwhal with like a sword head?
I guess.
Could I be above water?
I would imagine you'd probably be able to have some type of amphibianness, but then again, I don't know, because a mermaid, what their legs are basically just the fish tail, essentially.
What if I made a deal with the fat octopus?
I mean, I guess maybe, but I mean, because that's a different thing. That's Ursula or whatever from Little Mermaid. Is that a mermaid still? Is that a classification, or is that some?
I thought she was an.
Well, no, I'm saying, what if I made a deal and I could go above water? But I don't know. I think you'd have to go horse, even though all the other horses would make fun of you because you'd be just like such a little wimp.
Yeah,
like they're like 700 pounds of pure muscle and like a 40-pound dong, and you're just like this frail man with a huge horse top just wobbling around.
Yeah, get all kinds of hate. If I
could be a swordfish above water that could speak English, I'd be super down. It'd be really hard to drive cars.
Yeah, I think for me personally, I would definitely, if it could be a shark, a half shark man, like a shark top and man bottom or whatever. That's like Street Sharks forever. You guys remember that TV show? Yeah.
Cool.
See, I just think about if you had legs in the ocean, like you wouldn't get very far in the ocean. Like it would take you 3 months just to get like 10 miles or something, just because you have these useless ass human footies.
It really brings into question like all like chimera type creatures, like it's always like you get the blessings of animal and then just a human brain. So really like there's nothing good about humans except our brain. Like everything else blows. Like we're weak, we're fleshy, fat, goo-filled, mucky beings, but we got that big old brain. But so like if you ever switch the head part with anything else, everyone else is just like, dude, you suck. Like you have no natural advantages anymore.
What you're trying to say is that we're the warlocks of the world. Thing.
We're the worst. Yeah, we just cheat and don't have to do anything for it. Except
that's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got one more before we move on, and I want to preface there is a right answer to this.
Oh, great. Oh.
Okay.
Great trepidation.
You're in a 3-way with your mom and dad. Okay.
Oh God. Oh.
And you just realized where you are in this world. Do you pull out of your mom and back into your dad to get out of it, or do you push into your mom to get out of your dad to leave? And there is a right answer to this.
You're being like you're in the middle of a choo-choo train right now.
Yes. There is a right answer.
Easy. You kill yourself. Because nothing will ever be the same.
The other option is you kill both your parents and then like you leave no witnesses. You just I don't know what happened, officer. Like they just attacked me and I was naked. They were naked at the same time and just it happened. They were zombies. They 28 days later happened.
The answer I was looking for is you stand up. You don't push or pull. You just stand up.
You went straight to murder.
Oh, that was a terrible one. I'm gonna go ahead and move on from that.
Well, now you know exactly where our heads are at. We're like, you know what? We're just like, get rid of this.
Yeah, it's a horrible situation. Blood.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. It's like kill yourself, kill the people around you. Nothing ever happened.
Yeah, light the house on fire.
Yeah.
Change your name.
Yeah, that's like someone said that to me the other day. They were just like, "What would you do if Katie caught you cheating on her?" And I was like, "I'd throw my phone in the ocean, start a new life." Because like, what the fuck do you do? Like, I'm a 30-year-old. You can't like cheat on your significant other anymore in this generation. Like, I have to start a new life. Like,
yep. Change countries. You know, you gotta end it.
All right.
We're obviously very extreme here.
So we're going to play a game called What's in My Mouth. And this is some of the dumb things you might have heard or dumb things that you have said sometime in the history of ever. And because we're all cringy people, we all have at least one or two things we might have heard or said that was just really fucking stupid.
I can go. I took a note on this one. This is a relationship-inspired one. I kind of got played into a trap that I'm sure a lot of other people have been trapped into, but I've sunk and then I just dug my grave all the way to China and I should have stayed there. But a girl was asking me, like, we were talking about sex stuff and we were fairly new in a relationship. Me and this girl had dated for a little while. We ended up dating a long time, but we did like each other very much. And she started asking me things about other girls I'd slept with. And she brought up the question saying like, oh yeah, well, like, you know, I like this and you like that. Like, I mean, why do you like that? Like, you didn't ask me, like, was someone better than me in that? And I was like, oh, well, no, like, there was just this one girl that was like crazy good on like top or something. And the moment it came out of my face, I was like, oh no, this was a trap. This was totally a trap. And it was. It led into one of the greatest, most horrific, like, domestic fucking problems I've ever had in my life. Like, full on in the yard, like throwing leaves at each other and running up the street. Like, it was the stupidest fucking thing because I was a little younger. I was probably in my early 20s. I was in college still. And like, I didn't know how people worked. I didn't know how anything worked. I was like 21. Nobody knows anything. And so I was like, what do you mean? But you're so good at all the other stuff. And she's like, but that was the thing. And she fucking lit me up. And that when we broke up 2 years later, she was just like, yeah, why don't you call up fucking Sarah and have her ride you? And I was like, still a fucking thing? Like, what on earth? How can you hold a grudge like that? And yeah, that was one of those that's like, heads up to anybody that ever is asked the question, like, is anyone better than me in any way sexually with the girl you're with? The answer is no. The answer is just no. Unquestioned, no hesitation, no thought, no blinking, no. That's the only right answer.
That's that's the only way to get out of that. Like, she is the best, no question. That's why you're with her. You know, like, yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, and people try to trick you, and it goes both ways. Like, I've seen guys do the same thing with girls. I've seen it goes in any way when you're in any type of relationship. You can be in a poly puddle, and you have to know that, like, it is the best poly puddle you've ever been in. Or else you're just really in for a really bad train wreck of a conversation.
So I was in Afghanistan at the time. I was married, and we were having a conversation over the phone. This was around the time that the 2008 election was happening, and this was like maximum dumb. I just want to throw this out there. Like, we get into this argument about who we're voting for. She was voting for McCain. I was voting for Obama. And she's like, well, why are you voting for him? I'm like, because he's kind of awesome. Have you seen the guy? He speaks really well. And, like, you know, first black president. Fuck yeah. And she's like, yeah, well, he's a baby killer. And I'm just like, okay. And she's just like, well, you know, if he gets elected, I'm moving to Ireland. I'm like, all right, bye. And she's like, what, you're not coming? I'm like, no, I'm not coming with you to Ireland. Like, you know, I'm joking and all. I'm not going to Ireland. Fuck that. She's like, oh, so you, like, you know, America's more important than your wife. And I'm just sitting here like, in Afghanistan, in my uniform, Like, just like the dumb is just washing over me. I'm like, are you fucking serious right now? What am I told her, like, what am I doing right now? Literally right now, 5,000 miles away. Well, you're deployed. I'm like, okay. Does that not answer your question already as to what I would do? It's just, it was so fucking stupid. I had to hang up very shortly after.
You're just right though. Like,
Yeah.
problem. Like, so it was dumb to succumb to the whole issue at hand at all. But like, when it's like, what's more important to me, your wife or like literally every single thing you believe in?
Exactly. And I'm just like, I'm not going to answer that question because I'm not going to answer that question because you're not going to like the answer.
Wow. So I think for me, I think I have the uncanny knack of using dark humor with people at the absolute wrong time. And especially, I mean, I don't know why. It just comes out of me like at any given time or whatever. So for example, I was recently on a date, and I like how all of ours are kind of relationship like connected here. I would think that's very fair.
There's a lot of dumb in
Talking
relationships.
to people they want to date, always.
Yeah, exactly. So we were there, and we were just having dinner. This obviously pre everything going on in the world right now, but and we were talking about travel, like places we like to visit, and like so both of us really wanted to go to Europe. And I said, oh yeah, I want to go to Paris. I want to go to like Spain and Rome and Greece and all that stuff. And she says, oh, I really want to go to Auschwitz. That's a really interesting.
Go on.
That's like, okay, please tell me a little bit more about that. And then she was like, oh yeah, I just think it sounds like a once in a lifetime experience. I was like, oh. And so of course I was like, is that because all the people that go there died and got gassed? And she was like, wait, what do you mean? It's like, wait, so she was just like, she went off on me like at that point. It's like, how can you say that? Like there's all this tragedy and stuff like that. You want to go to the place that has like most murders in the world. And I was like, oh, I guess I'll just bring my gas mask if we go, you know, just like, and she just, honestly, like the whole conversation just went downhill. I was like, check, please. You know.
Have you seen Reaper the Genetic Opera?
I know that movie. I have not seen that movie.
It's a long time. I haven't seen it in a while.
Okay, well then this is for all the people out there who have seen it. I'm just gonna do this one really quick. So my best friend Jason, he ended up dying in 2008 or 2009, something like that. And they had him cremated, and I didn't know that, and they told me this. And I did that thing where you think you're thinking in your head, but you accidentally say it out loud. And there's a song in this thing called "Zydrate Comes in a Little Glass Vial," and so in my mouth, basically I said, "Oh, Jason comes in a little glass vial, a little glass vial, a little glass." And and all my group of friends have seen this movie, and they just give me like the fucked up, like, what the fuck is wrong with you stare. Yeah, it won't make any sense if you haven't seen the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, go see it. It's very criminally underrated. But yeah, that was a dumb extra thing for this segment, which actually leads us into
that's amazing.
Which actually leads us into the next segment, which is cringy ass moments. I'm not gonna count that one, but I'm gonna lead into it. My cringe moment that I can think of right now. I was a kid, and my parents had a Halloween party. I was about 8 years old, and this still haunts me to this day. Like, it will just pop up on my mind. I'm like, wow, you're a fucking pussy ass bitch for doing this. And so my parents, they had a karaoke machine, and I love karaoke, still do. But I decided, because I'm 8 years old and I don't know many songs, I decided to pick like a song that I don't know at all. And I did really bad. And my parents, like, they had prizes for people who did well. And I was not one of the winners. And me thinking my parents are obviously going to let me win, that wasn't a thing. So what do? I cry like a bitch because I didn't win. in front of everyone as an 8-year-old, and I'm just sitting there like in the fetal position on a couch, going just crying. My mom's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "I didn't win." and the thing is, now if you're a parent, you're supposed to go, "Oh, sweetie, that's okay," or "Oh, let me see if I can get you a prize." No, my mom, being the sometimes asshole she could be, was like, "Well, you didn't win. You weren't any good."
That's fucking great, though. You that in this world.
And I just sat there. I'm like, really? Like, even as an 8-year-old, thanks, Mom.
Yeah. You need to psychologically destroy your children a little bit at a young age so they know that that's going to happen for the rest of their life.
I think that's fair.
And that's why these like super young kids are so terrible, because they were never mistreated.
And then my brother,
stop being so nice to your kids.
And then my brother comes in, and he's like, "Oh, stop being such a crybaby," and he hands me like some candy or shit, and I'm just like, just like crying and eating this candy like it's like I just got dumped at the prom or something, and it just. To this day, I think of this memory and I'm like, this is my low point in my human existence.
I mean, if that's your low point, you've lived an all right life.
Yeah, I think
humiliation.
I think that's honestly, that's probably a super good developmental stage of your life. You know, like you faced such a terrible tragedy like that in some, and like in your kid's mind or whatever, like that was a major tragedy of your life. You know, I think that's fair.
Can we stop trying to justify my fucking pain for like 5 minutes?
We love you.
You know what? You're okay. Yeah.
I've got one. So this happened last time we spoke. You'll learn very quickly, as I'm sure you probably figured out. My stories always turn to 10 because my life is a fucking hurricane.
Dude, for you, it's either jail, Karens, or jail with Karens. Your stories are just ridiculous.
So this was, I was too young for jail, but so this was on the eve. I was probably like 7 or 8. I was young. It's like I remember it all, but it's like the youthful memory to where it's like splotchy. Only remember high points. For a little bit of context, my grandmother on my father's side was a complete psychopath. Like, she's kind of banned from my family now. She was in a cult for a long time. She shot one of her husbands in the face with a shotgun, which was crazy. He survived, so she didn't go to jail.
And here I thought we were gonna not get a jail thing going on.
Well, I didn't go to jail. So this is just me being a dumbass and being like just a kid, an idiot. She lived in a giant like double wide trailer way out in the mountains I guess up in northern Tennessee, northeastern Tennessee. I went to go visit when I was a kid. My dad was deployed. He was in like Bosnia at the time. And my mom was working a million jobs, so she would send us to her often because we were close. And one time while she was doing her weird shit, like, again, there was a lot of like dancing in fields. Thinking back, like, she was definitely in a weird fucking cult. Because there would be like weird strangers that wore like weird clothes, and they would all just dance, and they would light fires and make the kids like do ceremonial shit. We didn't understand. We just did whatever they said. But I didn't like any of it. So I was like asked if I could go play inside. So I go to play inside, go in, and she's got her bathroom is like this big glorious thing. And she's an old lady who wants to like dip her hands in the wax. Do you ever have like the wax glove peels? I was playing with that thing, kicking it around. I locked the door to not get myself in trouble. And then as I was doing it, I burnt my hands in the wax. I was like, ah! And I threw my hands back. I knocked over a candle. The candle lit the like super cheap like fake carpet she had on the floor, which lit the bathroom as a whole like on fire. So now I'm like a tiny child covered with my hands and arms are covered in wax, and I don't really know what to do, and everything's slippery because everything's melting. It's a trailer, so the whole fucking thing's made of plastic, and it is literally like I'm dying. Like, I was in there just thinking like I'm gonna die. So it was real small, like curled against the door, and everyone was out in the field like chanting to like Sam Hain or some shit. I don't know what the fuck they were doing. And luckily, because the house is so cheap, the door like melted and like fell off its like rack, and I was able to get out. And then her house burnt down in the woods, and I escaped and went out, and I was like, "Hey, Grandma, I have something to tell you." your house is gone, and I was not invited to the festivals to celebrate the pagan gods anymore. I guess.
Amazing.
But yeah, that was one of those moments of my life that's deeply scarred, like, into my subconscious. And sometimes when I'm like in a bathroom and I'm a little like either too drunk or too fucked up, I'm just like, I need to be out of here right now.
Oh, you just think about that, man.
Yeah, it was a bad time. She used to still blame me for that when I was like an adult. Like before we banned her from the family, she'd bring it up at weird times, and I was like, man, like, I'm sorry, I was a child. The insurance money got her a new house. So. I see it super cringy because you are like, oh God, you're a nightmare.
Honestly, Zach, I only hang out with you for the stories, really.
You should hear when my mom gets drunk and she starts going in on the stupid shit I used to do. Then it's real bad.
All right, Kyle.
That's all good.
Good luck following that one, Kyle.
I mean, that's a tough one to follow, I guess. So we're going into our childhood so much. I definitely got a good childhood story as well. Growing up in our church, whatever, we would always have like some. I think actually there was Memorial Day weekend barbecues that we would do. In fact, yeah, that works for right now. So we went to this park. Yeah, the entire church was there, like all of our friends, my family's friends, my friends, we're all there, and like I was just drinking like crazy, like, you know, obviously sodas because I was only like maybe 10 at this point, probably maybe 11, something like that. And after playing with my friends for a little bit, I realized I had to pee really bad. And being that it was a holiday, all the bathrooms in the park closed. So what do I do? I literally ran all around, just everywhere, just trying to find like every little building I could find. There's every single one was closed. So in my brain, I was like, oh, the best thing that I could do is just go behind a tree and, just be fine. I'm going to be away from the church. Everything's good. So I did that. I ran around, found a nice tree, and just plopped there and just, whipped it out, full Monty. I'm like, all right, I got to just go. And it just, but I was actually being fun. I was having fun with it. I like being outside. I admit, I'm a guy. And I was just doing a nice arch. I was like, I found this little ravine. I was just peeing, like getting a good, like, see how far I can get it down into like the river thing.
See this happening. You're really, this is
detailed. Yeah. But then I hear like just behind me, it's like, Tom, what is your son doing? And like all of a sudden, so the entire church turns and they see me just making this really nice arch or whatever. But the thing is that I was actually peeing in the direction of a very busy street where cars were just going by, this left and right. So all these cars were just driving by, seeing me just like this, making this nice, good stream, just adding to the river. And yeah, needless to say, like my parents didn't talk to me for about a month. My friends at church didn't talk to me for about a month. I was just out there, man. Like, and I was actually fine with that, though, that no one was talking to me. It's like, oh, that's cool, Yeah. But, funny thing is, like, that actually doesn't bother me at all. Like, this whole situation. I'm not bothered by it, but I know everyone else was. So I guess that's the cringiness,
Yeah. No, that's rough. You're banished as the heathen. You have to go to the wall.
So much peace.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I probably should have toned mine down a little bit.
No,
it's all my terrible dark stories.
Zach, you fucking overachiever.
Man, it's all good, man. Just expose yourself.
I also this is just kind of cringy in and of itself. I started like drinking and doing drugs when I was really young. I had a really fucked up childhood, and so my problem is, and I've talked to the doctors about this, and it's like normal. Like, I'm sure y'all probably know, spread common knowledge. Your brain doesn't really stop developing until you're like into your 20s, and your memory banks don't really form until you're like 16 or 17. And so I Drew Barrymore'd it. Like, I was fucking obliterated from like 12 to like 20, just all the time. And we're talking wasted drunk all the time, like smoking pot at like 13, doing coke at 15. Like,
wow.
because I was in a really rough situation a lot of the time, and I don't have a lot of stories from my childhood, but I have a lot of disasters that from my childhood are things that have been like told to me by family, but like I don't remember where I grew up. I don't remember where I went to elementary school. I don't remember a single middle school teacher I had. Like my brain is just fried. So like when I tell these stories, and like I don't have like young stories because I don't remember my childhood because I poisoned myself so hard when I was a kid, which is really depressing and very cringy in and of itself. But like I literally rotted my brain as a child, and the only things that really stand out are trauma, because trauma sits in like a different style of memory.
That's true. Yeah.
Links to like fear and instinct.
And
So like most of my stories, when I tell them, like it's all very traumatic shit because it's the only thing I know about my childhood.
on the bright side, it made you a great dungeon master.
Oh yeah,
Nice. Yeah.
Books now, and they're full of trauma. They're
Yep.
gross, horrible things.
So we're gonna move
But, you know,
away.
it's funny because, like, I mean, I definitely have gaps in my memory too, not because of drugs, but I've been kind of like researching it about it. Like, and I'm like, I found out that actually, I actually do get a blinding rage sometime where it actually releases, I guess, so much cortisol or whatever in my brain chemistry or whatever that it just blacks out. Like, I don't remember it at all, you know, like, and there's little bit of people telling me like, oh yeah, this happened, this and this happened. I'm like, wait, what? What do you mean? I don't remember this at all, you know?
My sister's like hyper manic, and she's having a lot of issues. My sister's been through some really tough shit, but she when she goes through like really intense like manic episodes, sometimes she'll get in these furies where like she'll like knock out a bouncer and like move to New Orleans in 8 hours. And she'll like call my mom, and she's like, I don't know where I am. She's like, you went from Knoxville to New Orleans and you killed 3 people along the way. Like, how do you not know?
That's so crazy.
It's exactly what you're saying. Is like when you get super hyper manic, your brain is so full of intense, like powerful, like hormones that you can't, like the normal functions and normal like blockers don't work, and you don't make the same connections.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
The brain is a really strange, confusing thing.
It really is. So are we just like admitting to like the whole world that we're both like psychotic right now in some way? You know, like
And then there was Sam with his 8-year-old cringe thing. While I was like, I want to talk about gadget.
He's like, let's tell a story about cringes, guys, and we're like, okay, we're broken.
I'm just like, I cried as a kid one time. That was my problem.
No, Sam's he's just like, I want to leave now. Where's the end mute button?
I'm gonna go ahead and shift this segment over to.
But I mean, you can develop, you can become a better. I'm a better person now than I have been my whole life. So
I believe.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%.
I came through the other end, scarred and frayed, but I'm here.
Nice.
Yeah.
With that being said, I do want to switch us over finally to to a segment called Sodapop Culture, and it's where we simply shoot the shit about things that are happening in our world today. And I have one that fascinates me. Are you guys familiar with a conservative media group called OAN?
Yes, I've definitely been familiarized with this through the fantastic John Oliver Last Week Tonight.
And I really want to.
This is the one that shows up at all the press conferences and gets all the questions. Yes.
Yeah, like
John Oliver also enlightened me to it.
Yeah, I just want to point out this one thing, and I've been thinking about it for weeks since it aired, and that's the dude's call off sign, where he says, "Even when I'm wrong, I'm right."
Wait.
I can't. It made my brain just explode into a million pieces because how arrogant, but how
confident of it.
Well, no, how arrogant, but also self-aware at the same time that you have to be to say, even when I'm wrong, I'm right. On a news, like your news, you don't. That's like the last thing you're supposed to say.
Like that makes literally no sense because you can't do that with news.
You cannot do that with news, and I do definitely want not. I don't want to make this like a politics show. It's all about comedy, but this is hilarious.
It's fucking funny that it is like you're absolutely right. Like there's a confidence to it that is astounding, where it's like it's as if he is like it's like a giant meta joke, and in like 5 years he's gonna be like, "You fucking people, like, are you kidding me? Are you fucking joking?" Like it's Rick Sanchez in our dimension, and he's literally just trolling the whole world. Where he's like, "This isn't news, so you think it's news," and we're like, yeah, we fucking do. And then, like, in a little while, when the world turns into a normal world again, if it ever does, people are going to come out and be like, bro, like, we were totally kidding. It's the funniest joke. And then, like, as the world is burning behind him, he's going to be like, well, it wasn't that funny. Sorry. But, my bad.
Yeah, no, when I look at OAN and just this dude, I want to say his last name is Shepard or something. I don't remember the dude's name, but...
Yeah, I think that's the guy from Fox News.
I wonder if he just picked that. My name's Scott Shepard, signing off. Like, it's just a good news name.
It is. Yeah.
The thing is, it would be so funny if they didn't take it so seriously. And it just, for me, it's like I look at pop culture nowadays, and I feel like we get so, like, left and right to the point where people are just doing it because they know it works at this point, and I don't feel like there's no longer really a message involved or factual truth involved. It's just we're gonna do this articles because we know you're gonna look at it.
I mean, everybody likes to yell, and like a lot of news nowadays is less. I feel like about news is more about like a platform, and it gives people a place to scream into the wind. And in a world where like we're all very frustrated, people kind of want to just scream into the wind, whether it's from the right or the left, it doesn't matter. Like there's just frustration. And I think a lot of times people aren't necessarily like emotionally intelligent and just generally intelligent to know what they're mad about. But like something's wrong and everyone's mad. And so like what some of these news outlets are doing is they're just saying like, did you fucking hear? Did you hear what Karen did? Tell me that. And so then you're like, what? And you start screaming because it makes you feel better. And like everyone kind of needs that. And I unfortunately think that a lot of like corporate media, especially corporate news media, is taking advantage of like the necessity for an outlet for rage. Because rage is the only thing people really understand anymore because there's no happiness in the world.
Yeah. You know, and I would say too, I mean, it just goes with the old adage that high school never ends. Because people just continue like to do the same thing that they've been doing in high school, like gossiping left and right, just yelling like louder than the next person or whatever, and just keeping that cycle going, you know, like and I think that's the thing too, is like we always like see on the news that we have just like what we're doing here with like these multiple screens of people, and they just are yelling over each other the entire time. It's like it's sensational, you know, like it's, you know, it's what people want, I guess, you know, like, and it's just, it's all for the views, you know?
I do want to switch direction on this because you made me think of another thing. When is Pornhub going to be mainstream? And what I mean by that is
say that again.
When is Pornhub going to be mainstream? And what I mean by that is when are we going to get like a national channel for Pornhub? Because it feels like Pornhub is like everywhere and it's totally normalized.
Yeah, for sure. It is. Like, I would not be surprised if you could like so like in Spain, like you actually can, there's like a naked news channel, which it's on like an HBO, but they just do like a naked news. And it's like, for us, we're like, oh, look, funny, ha, it's porn news. But they're like, no, we just give you the news and we're naked. Like, it's whatever, but it's still the news. And I feel like Pornhub is one of those where they're like, no, we don't really have a say in it. So we're going to link up with like NPR, and it's like Pornhub and NPR giving you the truth and titties.
But no, that's just it though. That's what Pornhub is exactly doing. They're finding normal places of society to kind of live, and they do this in a way where it's like, hey, we're gonna donate a tree for every time you like look at a video, or they tried to rename a stadium, a football stadium. They were gonna pay like some $17 million, I think, for it, and I'm just like, that's kind of cool. I like the idea of normalizing porn, because if you normalize porn, it's not a big deal anymore, and if it's not a big deal anymore, like, people care about it less. I don't know.
Sex industry as a whole, like, that's one thing that people don't realize, especially in our culture. They're like like sex workers. Right now, there's a big movement for sex workers as a whole, like strippers, prostitutes, people on phone lines, OnlyFans girls. Like, there's this big like new uprising of this, and which I really love because like we're one of the only countries in the world that's like, how dare ye love thine genitals? Like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, it's the everybody loves their junk. Doesn't matter who you are, you love it because it's great. And like, but I mean, we all know the history of America. We're forms of Puritan nation. So like, and it's just sort of stuck. And so now, like, I love that you brought that up because yeah, Pornhub is kind of like Pornhub and OnlyFans. They're like leading this chart.
Oh my God, OnlyFans! I definitely want to talk about OnlyFans because I find it kind of fascinating, weird.
I'm looking that up right now.
Necessity. What?
I've never heard about that one before. I'm gonna look it up right now.
You don't know what OnlyFans is?
So
I guarantee you have 8 girlfriends so you can see their titties on OnlyFans.
Here's the thing about OnlyFans that I kind of enjoy.
It's just all it is. It's like not a campsite, but it's a site where girls can set up a monthly account where you go on and they put up like, and it's not like necessarily porn. A lot of it's like really well shot boudoir photos, like sexy stuff. Sometimes it's not even nude, but it's been a thing for a long time. But now that quarantine happened, there's so many like actors and young theater girls and models that didn't know what to do to make money. So they go to OnlyFans and they're like, yeah, pay me $12 a month and I'll show you a couple pretty shots of me thinking about professional photographers.
Here's where this dilemma of mine gets really interesting. I have a lot of friends now who are on OnlyFans. And my thought process is, I kind of want to see because but only because they're my friends. And I feel like that's wrong.
Because I think like the problem, especially with just like nude photography, it's one thing because there's a lot of girls on OnlyFans that are like full on watch me and my boyfriend fucking rail each other. Like, I do full anal. And it's like, cool. Jenny, I don't need to see your butthole. But like, there's a lot of girls they do just like really pretty photography. And it's like, it's sexy and it's pretty girls and they're naked, but it's art. And like, and a lot of times if you make it weird, it's weird for them. But it's one thing, like I've had girlfriends at restaurants or bars where people have been like, oh shit, Viv, like I fucking seen you all over the internet, and trying to be mean about it. And I'm like, yeah, so have I. She's super hot and awesome. Go fuck yourself. And Viv's like, yeah, Zach, let's have a shot. Fuck that guy. And because like people want to make it a thing if you just normalize it, it's like, yeah, by the way, Sarah, that shit was awesome. And I gave you money. Cheers. Like it's just kind of cool. And like, there's a normalizationing that's happening now. And
well, my question,
I think that's beautiful.
My question is, do you think that seeing your friends essentially nude is a unique value proposition for OnlyFans versus pretty much whatever else is out there?
I mean, I think with OnlyFans, the value is that it's more personal with people you might know or they're closer to you or that would not normally be in it. Because like there's still like a intrigue that is not necessarily a risque thing. It's just there's an intrigue because it's like, oh my God, like my friend Jessica's super beautiful and she was in. Like it's the same thing as like if you have an actress that's in a film and she does a nude role, where it's like, oh my God, it's closer to me, so it feels like more like that is more sexual in a way and more like connective than seeing like Sasha Grey take 6 dudes. Like it is something that I think is more intimate and not necessarily even in a sexual way, but as like I know you and like that's cool, like it's amazing, and I like you're trusting yourself enough, you're confident enough to do that. I respect you for doing it. And hopefully you don't think that's weird. I don't know. I'm also dating a girl who's done a lot of nude roles. So like I've had to come to terms with it very much. And so like it sort of changed my perception on it. Cause like now I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah. My girlfriend's super hot. Like, you want to see some movies? It's great. Cause like she's an actress. Like she's been on Westworld, a bunch of things, and just random roles where she's not been like big stars on anything, but she's had to do roles where she's done that. And it's made me a lot more open to it. And it's sort of shown me in this industry that like, no, it's not a thing. Like nobody gets the body. It's fucking chunks of fat and skin. Like who cares?
I like it when you say dirty like that.
Well, I mean that's kind of one thing too. Is that like I've always wondered too. Like I mean, why some guys like always have to like request. Like they go to Instagram or whatever and they ask like the girls for nude pictures and stuff like that. Like hey, send me some nudes. Like dude, you can just go to Pornhub and just look at some titties or whatever. Like why do you have to look at her titties? Or whatever. But like I'm saying, it's like I think people want to do that. That's why maybe OnlyFans is something good, because then it's actually like, yeah, I'll show you my boobs, but you got to pay me like a certain amount of per month or whatever in order to get that. Yeah, and it's like yeah. So, but now like it's also kind of a game thing, you know, because people they can't just watch the porn or whatever, I imagine, because they want to have that feeling like they earned it in some way, like, or like that they have that confidence that they can actually ask a girl for something or whatever, and like they can actually go out and get it, whatever. So it's part of their, you know, they're building confidence in some way.
So it's
power.
Yeah, well, yeah. I wouldn't even go that far. I think it's more along the lines of the way the hunt goes for the game.
Yeah.
You know, like it's kind of like asking a girl out, but kind of like in a weird, like disproportionately stepped process for it. And also, for those who are listening and think that we're a bunch of pervs or whatever, this is just us talking objectively about these things. I'm pretty like 99% don't ask women for nudes on their Instagrams, especially if you
never
don't
in a million fucking years ask a girl for nudes or send a girl your dick. Nobody wants to see your fucking salty dick.
Bro.
Who the fuck cares about you unless you're dating a girl and she says, "Send me that salty dick." Nobody wants it. Period.
Exactly.
Put it the fuck away. I hate that shit. That's why I'm saying, like, you want to see a girl who's proud enough and confident enough to go out and do a shoot like that? Pay her. She deserves it. Because she's blessing you with something beautiful. Go fuck yourself. You think you deserve shit for free. You're nothing. None of us are shit. And we have to work together to survive. And if she did that, she did not do it for you. She did it for her. So get the fuck out of here.
She did it for herself to survive too, because she's got a mouth to feed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's not more than one.
I'm gonna try really hard not to turn that into a joke. I'm gonna move on.
Do it. Do it.
Well, I have this is not even close to that kind of pop culture, but here's just a thing I read today, which I find hilarious. I don't know if y'all care as much. I think it's so funny. Mike Tyson just got offered $20 million to come back to bare knuckle boxing. This man is like 55.
Yep.
And I still think he's going to win.
Wait, who is he fighting again? I think I saw that. Who is he fighting?
No, they just the one of the big new non-UFC like bare knuckle things. They just offered 20 million to come out of retirement. They didn't say who. They just said if you come out of retirement and enter the circuit. So like all he has to do is come beat up some chumps coming out of college, being like, I know how to mix martial art.
Oh my god!
And he gets to beat them up because he's terrifying, and he's like the ultimate warrior who doesn't really know how to fight. He's just, what's his quote? Everybody's got to play until you get punched in the face.
Yeah.
Which is the most gangster thing anyone's ever said.
It is. Actually, have you seen his video of him actually training?
Yeah,
he's still
huge and scary.
Oh my! He's still so huge and so fast, even at his age, 50 plus years old. You know, like I'm like, oh my gosh! Like I would not want to get into the ring with this guy. You know, like
no.
Like,
have you?
Yeah.
Have you seen the roast of Johnny Knoxville? I think it was Johnny Knoxville, and Steve-O. Like it was Mike Tyson, Steve-O, and like a bunch of other people. And Steve-O looks at Mike Tyson, and says, "Hey, can you punch me in the face like here tonight?" And he's like, I don't think you want that. And he's like, no, come on, it'd be great. Let me just punch me in the face. He's like, I'm just gonna do this. And so like Steve-O just kind of like he runs his face into his hand. It was funny. I liked it.
Yeah. That's a cringy moment for sure.
Oh, it was super cringy. It was so fucking cringy
for sure. Because
I still remember my favorite thing is from Hangover 1 when he punches Zach Galifianakis and he goes, "He still got it," and he just knocks out Zach Galifianakis in one hit. It's amazing.
All right, we got about roughly 5 minutes left here, and I want to close us on some nerdy shit. So if you're not a nerd and you somehow made it this long, get the fuck out. But so this is called I Rolled a 1. And for those who still don't know but want to join in on this, Dungeons and Dragons is a thing, and when you roll a 1 in this game, bad things happen to you. And these are the stories of the things that badly happen to you. And I want to start this one off with Zach because it's fucking Zach, and I want to make sure that we go out on top.
Wait, you want me to go first?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. This is literally last night. I'm playing a campaign. It is based off a first edition run, like old thing called Maze of the Blue Medusa. It's a super dungeon. It's got over 300 rooms,
Jesus.
giant maze. It's a fucking nightmare, and it's really hard to do over Zoom. We have no idea where we're going, and because you're supposed to like draw it out as you go, which makes it easy. Well, we're doing it without a map, so we're just bumbling through. We come to a room. It's a party of me and 4 other guys. And the DM says there's a spiral tube that goes downward, kind of like a slide at a water park. And we're like, all right, cool. And my character's super dumb, like literally like a 7 in intelligence, dumb, very dumb. And I was like, cool, a slide, dope. You guys go first. And they start walking. I jump on my shield because I'm a big cleric, and I just like shoot down this fucking thing. And he has me roll a dexterity to stay on my shield. I do fine. And then he has me roll his strength as he's like, okay, you see the opening. You need to grab the edge because you come to the end of a tunnel, and it's basically like a garbage chute, if you will. I was like, oh, fuck. Okay, that's not good. And he's like, also, all your friends are behind you because you knocked them over because your stupid ass went down on a shield rather than walk. And I was like, this isn't good. And so I rolled 1. And he's like, oh, you critically failed. This is great. Let's see what happens. I missed the thing, and apparently I drop in at the bottom of this thing, spoilers for the maze, there is an ancient goddess at the bottom of this tube that is basically like a garbage chute where her mouth opens up in like a giant maw, and inside her mouth is the void. Like, you scream into it, but this time nothing screams back. It's just void. And but she only does it for monsters or anything like unnatural. And I am a Kalishtar, very natural. But I roll a 1. He goes, okay, well, you don't go in her mouth, but you fall and you break your neck. I was like, what do you mean I break my neck? He's like, no, you fall 50 feet going like 80 miles an hour. You break your neck and you're laying in front of this pit to the void. And I was like, no, like, don't, what do you mean can I heal? And he's like, no, you're unconscious, roll a death save. And I was like, fuck. So the combat goes on. My friends come to try to save me. And me on the bottom, my friends get there and they start trying to fight this like beast. But every time it's the beast's turn, they roll again. And the person in front of it has to roll a strength save or get sucked into the void. So 2 of my friends are gone. And they had to rip up their sheets and re-roll because my stupid ass broke my neck in front of this gargoyle monster. And my friends tried to save me and got sucked into oblivion. And now I am still alive with a broken neck. I'm like a quadriplegic in D&D. I don't know how that's fucked. We're not high enough level to fix it, but I'm not.
I mean,
so,
you could always become a warlock.
Yeah, no, I don't know what I'm going to do because I'm a cleric and no one has the spell to heal me. So right now, they're literally, the 2 other people are carrying me because they ran because 2 of my other friends are just gone. They have to completely re-roll. In D&D, if your character dies, your character's gone. Like we always usually have a funeral of some sort by yourself, whatever it means to you, whether you burn the paper or whatever, and rolling. And that's all because my stupid ass rolled a 1 to like catch a rope, and I fucking broke my neck.
I actually have you beat on this one. This is gonna be great.
This is awesome.
So we're in this hallway. I am playing a half ogre barbarian, also dumb as fuck. And our rogue is going down the hallway. DM says, "Hey, roll a perception check." Nothing. And so everyone's kind of getting nervous, and like they're saying, you start feeling the ground move, and he says nothing beyond that, right? And we're like, okay, so. Me being the barbarian that I am, like, fuck this. So I start running towards my group. Here's what we didn't know. So this long hallway is on a fulcrum, like a fulcrum. So it teeter-totters, and at the end is an illusion of a wall where there are spikes. So if you don't balance it right, essentially. It just goes straight down and you fall into the spikes. So what ends up happening is my dumbass, not only am I running towards the wrong end of the fulcrum, but I also end up tripping as a result of running downhill unexpectedly. And what ends up happening is my dumb big ass ends up pushing everyone into the spikes. Everyone dies except for me because they worked as an entire meat shield. I had no damage whatsoever.
You made the rest of your party and you survived atop their corpses?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Every single one. Here's like, it was a party of 6. So I killed 5 people by rolling a 1, tripping down the fulcrum into a bunch of spikes, and the only reason I survived is because there wasn't enough spike for me to go through.
So goddamn funny.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I was.
Why I love D&D though, because that stupid shit happens. Oh man, I can't wait! I can't wait to do this again because I've got another great one. It also involved an incineration death, which was great.
We'll definitely do this next episode. I'm having fun with this one.
That's good. I mean, mine definitely probably should have gone first because it's very basic, very simple. It's the only one that I really can remember, like off the top of my head right now. It was like years ago. We were just trying to crawl through a dungeon as per usual, whatever, and we came across a spot. We were all like level 1s at this point, and we came across an ogre who was just kind of like guarding a door, whatever, like a bridge, and for us to get across. But he was like standing close to the edge, and so I was like, oh, okay, I'm a rogue, so I'm gonna sneak up and I'm just gonna push him off. And so I get over there, and I sneak. I was successful in the sneak, and then I rolled my athletics. Didn't have like the most strength, but I did for some reason pick athletics for something, maybe to kind of like counterbalance something.
Yeah, it's important.
But of course, I rolled the 1, and so instead of pushing him, I literally gave him a reach around with the 1. So I literally just caressed his balls.
I thought that was gonna go way differently.
Yeah. And so I just said, "Oh," okay. And then of course, but then again, like, so I guess it may have turned into a win because the DM actually rolled for him how he would react, and he actually liked it, and so the ogre started helping us, and actually, like, we had this little like kind of a little like love thing going for a while until.
Were you like his little bitch, like his tiny little bitch?
Yeah, I was. I definitely was. I had to go along with it as long as I could because and so that was.
I'm surprised you didn't have to roll like a charisma or a diplomacy check or something that said.
Yeah, but just for the moment where you reach around and then he's like, oh yeah, but then he turns and meets your eyes and it's like charisma check. What does your face say?
Yeah. That's probably like I can't remember. Like I think that had to have been in there, like some charisma situations.
Yeah,
or whatever.
If you can hold his eyes, like if you can keep eye contact, then he'd be like, yeah. But if you fall short, if you like get afraid, then he'd kill you. But that means you must have reached around and then been like, this is for you.
Yeah.
I just imagine him looking down
really
like
giving it to him.
I just imagine him looking down like, go on.
He's like, I needed this.
So
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that ends our inaugural first episode of Chuckle Sluts. We're going to be on probably once every 2 weeks for now, and we're going to build up. This audio is probably awful, but we all got to start somewhere.
And the world's broken, so give us a minute.
And the world is broken. Give us a goddamn moment, because our studio right now is actually our studio is a thing. We should probably talk to Matt the Rat and talk about that and get him.
We do have to do Zoom again, though. I have a better mic. It's just Katie's running her game, so she's on the mic.
Gotcha.
But I normally can have a really good webcam and a really good mic.
With that being said, I don't want our audiences to hear us do technical jargon.
Sorry.
Yep, my name is Samuel Locke, and this is Chuckle Sluts. Who the hell are you people?
My name's Kyle Sawyer.
This is Zach Clapperich signing out.
Great. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye.